like on a personal level, there's social classes, right? So there's one class that's meant to work for those that don't work.
Yeah.
And those that don't work are usually second and third generation. They're born into it. The reason why is those people own things and they pass it.
Yeah.
So what they do is they give another class, the working class, distractions, make them hate each other, make them want to do sports and only know how to do like what's lotto. Like we're only programmed to say the only way we could get out of a social class to be workers is to be athletes or to be entertainers. And that slot is like lotto. But even in school, they distract you and say, here's every team that can go professional. But there's no like political team. They never show you how to be a politician or how to change a law, or they have singing class and all this other, everything to distract you.
Yeah.
So, and that's lotto to win at that level.
Right.
So that means everyone that's trained their whole life to get there, which is 90% of the world, which is the working class, only 1% gets there. And that person that was an entertainer or is they get to get into the 1%. But only if they sell out and distract everyone else that they were a part of that helped them get where they got to go. And I'm just not down for that pattern. And it's strategic. It's not like, like the way nerds, people that aren't strong, control, people that are strong, like, be like, whatever, like, jump in front of me, I fight. But people that are weak, they have to be strategic about how they control. So brain controls muscle. And that's what's been happening. We've been controlled. We've been programmed to hate each other, kill each other, be happy to have a job, happy to work for someone else, and only happy to be able to take care of yourself. So everybody comes from a place of self-preservation. Everyone's always worried about themselves. And the purpose of love is to love people before you love yourself. But now, look at the way the system is set up. In school, they take your kids from you, and then they tell you, unless you go to college, and this is, the majority of the world, and the majority of the world is the working class. Unless you go to college, which you can't afford, unless you get a loan to go to college, you've done something wrong. So you go to college, you get that loan, and in order to pay off the loan, you got to get a job you don't want. And you still desperate. And in order to buy that house, because you paid that loan, you ain't got no cash. Now you got to get another loan to get the house. Yep. And so you always have to be working from backwards. You always have to be worried about yourself. And what I find when I'm around desperate people is they're all right with I got to do what I got to do to eat. They sometimes justify doing things that are not honorable to survive. So, everyone's always in a place of fear, a place of backpedaling and self-preservation, and that's the problem. The test is to love others before you love yourself, and that's what a real boss does. The test is to think about the future, not the present. Your present is only dictated by what you did in your past. So you got to start planning. It's chess, not checkers. Yeah. And that's really what I've always preached.
And I understand that, bro. Why did you and why do you?
It means nothing. There's no goal supporting that dollar. You look at the Federal Reserve, it's all a Ponzi scheme. They give you a dollar that's not backed by nothing, just so a bunch of different families could eat. And we're all, our Social Security numbers are just businesses that the government gets loans off of. So why are we fighting over that? And also another thing about school is, I've been doing a lot with the ancient history, Billy Carson and all that, forbidden knowledge, understanding what they don't tell us, the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Emerald Tablets and all that stuff. It all involves us not being, us being made, genetically modified by Anunnakis to be slaves. That shit is an ancient text, but nobody says that. You understand what I'm saying? Why they don't teach us all of those type of things? I want to know what the fuck they're not teaching us that, because everything that we're not taught is meant to control us. You feel me? Like in our Bible that people read right now, it says, obey your slave master in the Bible. So that had to be written by a slave. And how do we listen to any law that was made 50 to 100 years ago? Because they were made by people that had slaves. So how do we listen to any education or any law made by anyone that had a slave? All that shit should start over. But back to what I was saying about the pyramids and all that. Billy Carson's been going through all the hieroglyphics and all of the text. Is there school in any hieroglyphic? You hear any school?
Nope.
No. I've never heard of that. I've never heard of kids being taught by other people's, or kids letting other people's parents teach them that are mediocre, that make, not what I make. How could a teacher tell my kid how to be better than me? Or how to teach my kid how to be better than me? And they haven't done anything I've done. Why do they keep teaching them about algebra? Like, maybe 1% of the world wants to be a mathematician or an engineer. Yeah. But why is that in the curriculum? How come health and therapy and paying taxes and all the things that help? Why do they spend so much time distracting us and making us think something is supposed to be 9 to 5, great life? Like, we're really meant to work, get up early our whole life and only relax when we're 90? That does not make sense.
What do you think a teacher's role should be now?
To lead by example. Yeah. To say, don't listen to me, go out there and live. To me, it makes more sense to say, no, my daughter's college costs $60,000 a year. I would rather invest $60,000 a year into her business and let her learn that way. Because there's no teacher can teach my daughter about business. But because a teacher told my daughter, unless you go to school, you failed. Since she's been 6 years old, she really feels, because she could be a supermodel right now. Like, she wants to be a model. She's running, but you know, she's told, and her mother and all that, you got to go to school, or else you failed. Unless you get a college degree, which has been implemented by, again, the same curriculum 100 years ago, the same people that were meant to not physically enslave us, but mentally enslave us, and we're still listening to their education. Is that logical?
It seems like even growing up, the one thing you always heard is make us proud. By how? Graduating, going to college.
Right. By having debt.
Yeah.
By paying for something you can't afford to teach you some shit that's not going to help.
That thing means something different now.
Like it means, and again, the people that are not usually our color, from a different culture, patting us on the back. Good job. You just paid me to tell you that you're smart. That's ridiculous.